Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Two Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. You know, we're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we were ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Two Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Two Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress Elizabeth Bowen with me. So welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Hi, Michael. Hi.
I should say welcome back.
Yeah.
You were here a few weeks. Well, it's been about a month, if you can believe it.
Yeah, I was wondering. I knew it was February, but
yeah.
We've
only got what, an episode or two left in the season?
Including tonight's, we have 3.
Oh, 3 left. Yeah. So that's right. So we've had 5 of the 8 so far.
Yeah.
I know. That's such a short season compared to the other ones.
Yeah. Last season was 16.
Well, and it looks like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like that it just depends on the story you're trying to tell. So like the first season was 10 episodes. The second one was kind of long, was 16. This one's 8, but it just depends on how many you need to actually tell the story well.
Yeah, no, completely. And that's what's nice about this season is it's like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Every episode is like kind of full and rich. It's like espresso.
It really is. It's like you've taken 3 episodes and jammed them into each episode.
Yeah.
It's pretty
and
great.
It works.
It does, because there's it feels like there's a little more action. You know, the part of the reason I think fans love the show is because it's so quotable. There's so many just good quotes, and we're getting even more of those this season. It's been terrific.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good one-liners.
Yeah. Well, and we love when Deputy Liz throws one out there, because you're usually doing it in that kind of quiet, under your breath voice with that. And, you know, it's, if somebody catches it on the show, they're just kind of like, what did you say? What did you say?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Thanks
I know,
for noticing me.
She's getting lots of stuff, sort of not entirely under her breath, but sort of one step up from under her breath.
Yeah. Well, I kind of take it as that's at this point, that's the best she can do, asserting herself. Like, it's gotten better as the series has went on. At some point, she's just going, at some point she's probably going to end up the sheriff. That's what I think.
It's funny. I've had people online on social media say things like, "I think you should be sheriff one day," and I think it's cool. Like people have very definite opinions about who our characters are and where they should go and how they should end up, and it's really, I don't know. I think it's cool.
Well, and I'm not trying to get rid of Corey because the
Yeah.
relationship between
Hold
the
on.
two characters is
Hey,
terrific.
Corey.
Yeah. Don't tell on me.
FYI. Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah.
We'll have to find him a new position.
Yeah, he could
Maybe
be
he can
mayor.
join, a higher up position.
Oh, wait a second. No, he can't be mayor. I
Well, we
don't
don't
know.
want to lose Ben.
Everyone would have to be shifted around.
Maybe he could just
Deputy mayor.
Oh, he's already there in the office.
Yeah.
It'd be an easy move. But I love the interaction between you two. And his character's so unique, and he just kind of ran over you in the early part of the show. But as it went on, that relationship's deepened and developed, and now you guys kind of get each other. So it's more, I don't know, it seems more like what you would do with close friends or family. So it's like, yeah, you're not perfect, but I like you anyway. I accept your faults.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I accept your faults. And I don't think she's really that intimidated by him anymore, like at all, because she literally says pretty much whatever she thinks to him, except when it's sort of alien stuff or whatever, she does like step a little more carefully. But
well, the backstory for all the characters, which part of the reason I think the show surprises you with how good it is really deep. Every character over the 3 seasons we've got to know really well. So Deputy Liv's story, we've connected with that. I saw you saw an alien when you were a kid. Which, by the way, the fact that half of the town grew up together is pretty awesome.
I know. It's so neat. I grew up in not as small of a town as Patience, but a pretty small town. And it used to be back in the day, if someone said a last name, like 8 times out of 10, I knew the family,
right,
that they were talking about. So that's what's neat about this is in Patience is that, like, we literally, we know so much about each other, and I love that gets revealed.
Yeah, little by little.
Yeah, like last season, it was that Liv revealed that Ben used to sleepwalk.
Right.
Just stuff like that, or like I think I mentioned like an essay or a paper he'd written for school talking about his sleepwalking or something like that. And so I like all those little details that come.
Well, because
in.
That's exactly what it would be like if you were in a small town. If I moved into a small town, but I wasn't from there, that's how you would get the information. Just little by little, it would get, you may not realize it immediately, the connections everybody has, but over time you'd realize, oh yeah, they're really, they grew up together, they're close. And you'd find out little details like that you wouldn't know, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't think so far anyone has revealed about any of the other characters, the ones we all went to school with. Like, I don't think there was any like wetting their pants at school stories or anything like that yet.
Not yet.
Still time, Chris. Yeah.
Don't give him ideas. He has plenty.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You remind me, have we heard about season 4 yet?
No.
So we're still waiting on that.
Yeah, we're still waiting. Fingers crossed. Yeah, could you, Michael, call some people?
We got this podcast guy from West Virginia. He
said
you have to listen to him.
Yes, you have to listen to him, and it's done. So yeah. No, fingers crossed. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens.
It's got a pretty good following.
It does. There's a really good. It's a really good group of people. Like, I just find, when you read stuff on on social media or whatever. And really the majority of the things I read, it's like everyone's totally rooting for our characters and rooting for the show. And like, it's so good. It's like so positive.
Yeah, I don't see any negative. The only negative might be if somebody hadn't seen it.
Oh,
Because
you mean because they'd have opinions on it without having seen it? Or?
they might have an opinion on it just based on the name of the show, which, you know,
Right.
you go in and you think, oh, this is going to be ridiculous. You know, an alien living in a small town, it's just going to be slapstick. But it's
Yeah.
not. You know, the reason, I mean, there's a little bit of that. And Alan does such a great job, you know, kind of being slapsticky without being slapsticky, if that makes sense. You know, he's real
Yes.
good with the one-liners and being awkward and all that. But what makes the show is the fact that you've got this cast of characters and they're all interesting.
Yeah, everyone has their own story, completely different personalities. Like it's really it's a joy.
It's kind of eclectic, the different
Yeah.
personalities that are put together, but that's what you get in a small town.
Yeah. It's like yeah, no, I just love it. I was just thinking about even like Nurse Ellen, just like the stuff when she comes in at the clinic and just pipes
Yes.
up with certain things. It's almost like sometimes it seems like she's the one of the few people who can actually see like how crazy stuff is sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, her reactions to stuff is pretty hilarious. Like half the time I'm expecting her to turn to the camera and kind of have one of those, you know, conversations with the audience. You know.
Yes. Yes. And Diana Bang is so that's the actress that plays Nurse Ellen. She is just chef's kiss. Like she's so great.
I tried to get her for the panel, but she was tied up or something, couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, she's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pretty busy. But yeah, that
Yeah.
would have been terrific. So I got us off track, of course, because that's kind of what I do.
No,
Let
I
me
do it
back
too.
us up, you know, because
Yeah.
with the panel you don't get to dive in like we'll be able to do a little bit. But tell me a little bit about what got you into acting. You know, why'd you become an actress? That's not an easy profession to get into.
No, it sure isn't. When I think I was 4 years old, and I was taking like gymnastics and ballet classes, and I think someone reached out to our ballet instructor to see if we would be in a play. So I did this play. I mean, I was one of the straw dancers in the college's version of Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, very nice.
And so I just remember showing up, and we got to go in the dressing room and meet like the actors. And this sounds like so, I don't know if it sounds corny or whatever, but I remember they were all wearing like heavy, theater makeup.
Right.
And I could smell the like, the sort of the I guess it was the pancake makeup or something that they were wearing. And I was like, oh yeah, I like that smell. This feels right. I'm home. And I just, even though I was terrified, because there was a couple of plays that I was in where I was completely terrified. One of them was what was it? The Big Bad Wolf, Three Little Pigs. And I was so overwhelmed by the audience that I kept backing up until I think I was playing. Oh, look.
Hey, Alan's back.
Oh no.
Here we go.
I gotta keep my hands down. I was like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, I was so overwhelmed. I think I was playing a tree, and I was so overwhelmed that I backed up almost into like the cauldron or something, and the whole audience was laughing, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I think I was about 5, and I was like, why are they laughing? And then I just decided, oh, maybe that's not a bad thing. And it kind of went from there. Like, I think from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be in the theater or be in some sort of performing capacity. And so I know at one point, I think when I was a teenager, my mom is a writer, and one of her friends is a, he writes plays and everything, and
Right.
was established in the theater world where I grew up. And he told her to tell me to reconsider. He's like it's
Out
such a
now.
hard, yeah, it's such a hard life. It's really, there's so much competition. It's very hard to make a living. And I just remember at that point, I don't know how old I was, maybe 17, 18. I was like, even more determined now. So I have to say
Go
my
show
parents were,
them.
yeah, my parents were very supportive. And yeah, I just went for it, even when it felt like, what the hell am I doing? Because, you have to have so many other jobs to pay the bills while you're waiting to hopefully start booking more and more, film and television work. So yeah, I guess I knew really from an early age, like maybe 4 or 5, that's what I was hoping to do.
I think it's interesting because most of us find something that we want to do at about that age, 4, 5, 6 years old, but we never stick with it. It always changes because life gets in the way. But actors, what I've found is most actors figure it out really early and then they stay with it. And I think that's terrific, to know most of your life what you want to do and to have that passion for something. That's part of the reason that I love actors so much.
Yeah, no, it's true. I from time to time I think about that, like how grateful I am that I was so sure that this is what I wanted to do, because you know, I I have lots of friends in their 20s and onward who were just trying to figure, no, friends who weren't in the industry, who were just trying to figure out where they wanted to go, or what they wanted to be, or what they wanted to do, what brought them joy. So when you find something that you really love to do and you can find a way to get paid for it, that's like amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's probably part of the reason actors stick with it when it's so difficult, and the times are lean starting out, sometimes well into it, they're lean, but that passion and that just knowing this is what you want to do, that probably helps a lot of people.
I think so. I mean, even if it's like um willful,
Yeah.
you're like stubborn and determined that you're gonna, you know, somehow find a way to get work and whatever. But it's a lot. It really does. It can really do a number on your head. That's for sure.
What was your main side gig when you were trying to establish yourself?
Uh, I sort of went back and forth between waiting tables and nannying.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and I also did some. I don't know if you've heard of like the standardized patient program.
No, what is that?
It's when you pretend to be a patient for medical exams for doctors.
I saw that Seinfeld episode.
Yes, someone mentioned that happened in Seinfeld. But yeah, you get trained on whatever your scenario is for that exam, and you get trained how to not give them any information, because they're being um,
They're trying to learn.
they're being tasked with how to get information out of patients to try and diagnose them. So yeah,
I
that'll
didn't
put
think that
hair on
was a
your chest.
real thing. I thought that was something they just made up for Seinfeld.
Yeah, no, very real. I did that. I mean, it was only sort of when
What
exams
was
were
your
happening, so
best
maybe it's like
illness?
three, four.
What was your, like the one they had the most trouble figuring out?
The one that I remember that they had the most trouble figuring out is, sometimes I would be the one with the problem, and other times I would be giving information about my baby,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so I think there was one, oh gosh, I just remember that whatever it was that the baby had, if they were misdiagnosed, they would die.
Oh, it's
And
awful.
that was, no, completely. I mean, obviously there was no baby, but I remember there was one person who completely misdiagnosed, and there's always a doctor in the room who was actually, marking
Right.
their performance. And I remember this woman, she was wonderful. She was had the greatest bedside manner and whatever. And then when she walked out of the room, I remember the doctor said to me, "That's terrifying," because she was so personable and so caring, but she completely misdiagnosed
Oh,
the
right.
baby, and the baby,
Yeah.
this fictional baby would have died. And I was like, oh, so but it was, to me, like, I have friends who are actors who still do it or who have done it in the past. And it's really interesting from an observation standpoint, which is what we like thrive on,
Yeah.
watching what can go wrong, or just watching sort of human behavior. But it was long days. You would see a lot of candidates and you had to get up really early, and
I
yeah,
could see
you
where
worked
that
hard for it.
actually would help you with acting.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, because that's an unusual situation to act in, but you'd have to be committed to actually pull it off. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
if you're, if you were the mother of a sick baby, you had to, kind of maybe look distraught, or just, yeah, it built character, and it put a little money in my bank account. So yeah.
That's pretty good. I really didn't. I should have, because obviously that makes sense. You have to train, doctors and medical professionals. How else are you going to do it? I guess
Yeah.
you put them
Yeah.
in with real patients, but that's scary.
Oh yeah. No, no, no. And I never, I know that there were some people who would be patients who had to, get like, I think they'd maybe have to get their stomach like examined all day or something. And I was really grateful that I didn't ever have to do one of those. I was just sitting in a chair.
I don't think I'd want somebody touching my stomach all day long.
No, I don't think I would either. And, I don't know if I knew of anyone personally who did one of those, but I remember hearing that sometimes that happened. So anyway, I'm
Well,
glad
it did.
I didn't have to be in a, hospital gown. So
Yeah, that's not bad.
yeah.
That's not terrible at all. I had read that you were kind of an improv person growing up, or when
Yes.
you first started out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did improv for a number of years. Uh, First when I was in Los Angeles. And then when I moved here, I'd only done it for a couple of months in Los Angeles when I moved back here, and I was pretty confident I knew what I was doing. And then once I actually took some improv classes here, I realized how much I did not know about how to do improv. So yeah, no, that was invaluable. Like, not only was it so much fun, but it's terrifying. You're literally flying by the seat of your pants. And when you bomb on stage, on an improv stage in this case, like, it is, wow, it really,
Well, it sounds
yeah.
like I'm getting nervous just hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, no, my palms actually are starting to sweat just remembering, because it really, like, and it depended. Like, you had good nights, you had bad nights. You had some nights where the audience was like already, be like a Friday night. They hadn't had any dinner, they were drinking, and they would
You
get
had a
like super
cranky audience.
rowdy. Yeah, and so it's like, yeah, you it really helped build up your acting chops, and also to be able to deal with like auditions
Yeah.
and last minute changes in scripts and all those things. So yeah, no, it was a fun education.
I think I'd have trouble with improv. I'd have to, not that I could act, but if I did, I'd have to memorize, because I don't think I could just come up. It's too much pressure. I don't think I could do it.
With acting.
With acting, I couldn't improv.
Yeah.
I think I'd
Oh,
struggle with
right.
that. So I'd have to memorize my lines, and
Yeah,
they
but you
would
can't
probably
do
need to
that.
be brief.
You can't do that in improv. There are no lines.
I know.
You're
I
making up
had
your
a
lines.
I had an actress on one time who was very good at improv, and she was trying to teach me how to improv, because you're really just having a conversation basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was terrible, but we decided we were going to do it in a library. My son Brett, that does the show with me, he's a librarian, so we're going to do it. We're going to have this conversation in the library. So she was a customer, I'm working in the library, and it was going fine, but like, she's talking and I'm in my head trying to think what I'm going to say when she's done talking, which doesn't work very well because then you miss, the nuances and stuff of what she's saying. So that doesn't work. But I was trying to hang in there. So I'm in the middle of my spiel back to whatever she's saying. And she just kind of leaned into the camera and she said, under her breath, just went, and,
What did she say?
He said, I love you, but just under her breath, and leaned way in. And it just totally threw me off. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there you go. I knew I couldn't improv, but after that, I was like, I definitely won't be improv.
I definitely can't do it. Yeah, no, the biggest rule of improv is you yes and everything to forward the narrative. Yeah.
That's what she said. Never say no. Because that kind of ends it.
Yeah, that's they call that blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably be good at the blocking part.
Well, hey, maybe that's a whole new improv genre that you can explore.
Yeah.
Where you just say no. The scene never goes anywhere.
No.
It's super negative.
I refuse to do that.
That's right.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's terrible. I wanted to bring up a couple of them that you did, I think, fairly early in your career that, but they're really good shows. So the first one I want to bring up is Wayward Pines. So you had a little thing on that. I love that show because that's the one, same people that are doing Stranger Things, but didn't get nearly the kind of the popularity, but it was a really good show. Yeah,
it really had it's like the atmosphere of the show was its own character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like after that first season, which was more like a limited series type thing, I was like, there's nowhere they can go. But then they came back with a second season and it was really good too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was that was a very, very small part, but it was fun to do. I remember the writer of that episode was on set that day and he was like, oh, I'm really enjoying watching you be so intimidating and cold. And I was like, right on. So yeah, no, it was a really cool show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the other one was iZombie.
iZombie.
You were like a pirate waiter.
I was, I think my official name was Pirate Waitress number 2.
Does it bug you when they don't give you a name?
Well, I mean, obviously it's nice when you get a name, but I understand the descriptive, right? Because imagine if they're like, okay, your character's name is like Helen, and someone's like, who's Helen? We never heard her name, So like, I get why they do it, but yes, it's very humbling.
Yes, you could do, Helen, Pirate Waitress number 2.
That's true. It could be, that's right. There could be an explanation with it. But yeah, I remember with that show, because they made all our costumes and I was sort of like, I guess, a pirate wench. I don't know what you would call it. And so the blouse and the whole thing and the eye patch and the whatever. And I remember I had 3 costume fittings for that thing. And I was so happy because those 3 fittings paid my rent that month. And I was like, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, early on, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was back in, when did I do that? Like 2014, 2016 or something. And it was just so great to know that I would make the rent for sure.
Yeah. The first time we got a check for the podcast, that was a good day. And it was a little check. It was just a little thing, but it was our first one. So we were like,
yes. No, it's super exciting. Like my very first on camera job, I remember being on set. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like I'd never been on, like a set. I'd been on the set before, but in a different capacity, but as an actor. And it was like, I was terrified the whole day. But when I got that check in the mail, like 2-3 weeks later, I was like, oh, wow. Because it was like my first television role. Yeah.
I'm going to be huge.
Yeah. I'm going to be a big star a million years ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Did the role in Fargo help you with the character you're playing now? Because they're completely different, but
they're completely
both
different.
Law enforcement.
Yeah, both law enforcement, both wearing beige and brown versions of polyester versions of a uniform. Both the underling
Yes.
who had who had a very sort of impressive or intimidating boss. But yeah, no, I mean, it's certainly, I think that's the first, actually, that may be the only time that I ever fired a gun. I mean,
Really?
blanks, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, and that was an intense experience because for that episode I was in, we had to shoot for a week of night shoots
Oh,
in a town about 45 minutes outside of Calgary, and it was there was a lot of like gun stuff going on because that's that big shootout scene,
right.
and they actually had to
Great
put
scene.
some of the residents of the town who lived close to the motel where we were shooting at, they had to put them up in hotels
Oh,
because it was
really?
just it would be like gunfire on and off a lot of nights. So yeah,
I
yeah,
would
no,
love that. If somebody came to my town and was filming, they're like, we're gonna need to move you into a hotel. I'll be like, okay.
yeah, yeah, no, I
Adventure.
think it was probably an exciting like thing, but yeah, no, I mean definitely sort of the idea of being this person in uniform who has to deal with unpleasant, or in this case of Fargo, like terrifying situations. So yeah, yeah, the camaraderie that comes with
Well, and I
that.
thought maybe the way you carry yourself, as someone in law enforcement, they tend to carry themselves a little different than most of us do because they're a little more
Yeah.
on alert most of the time for one thing. But I thought maybe it might have helped with that type of stuff.
Oh, for sure. Because, they obviously had, people on set, like experts who, because there was at one point I had to walk Kirsten Dunst's character up the stairs. And
Yeah.
I remember after we did the first take, a gentleman came up and said, "Hey, your hand would actually be here and your other hand would be there. Because if you have your hand where it was," like he would explain why what I just done would be like dangerous or incorrect or whatever. So it was interesting to learn those things, just about like sort of all the ways in which they handle themselves to protect themselves and to keep control of the situation.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My brother-in-law is in law enforcement, and it always amuses me when we go out to dinner or something. He always has to sit facing the door.
Oh, I haven't been in law enforcement, and I have that. I never want my back to the door. And I was like, was I like in the mafia in another life? Like, what is this?
I've
Yeah.
been asked before if that bothers me, and I'm like, I'd just as soon not see it coming.
You're right. Yes.
I'll
Yeah.
sit
And
with my back to the door.
in Fargo, my character has her back to the door
Oh,
when all
that's
hell
right.
breaks loose. Yeah. Because we're
That's a
playing
rookie
poker.
mistake.
Well, I don't think they thought, like that. Wow. Yeah. That was intense.
Did I see you were involved in that Green Berets Guide movie show?
Yes.
Is that going to
Yeah.
happen?
I don't think so. Cause I mean, yeah, I mean, never say never, but we shot that back in 2000. I think it was 2017.
I thought it had
So
been a while. I mean, because
yeah.
what it's based on came out years ago, and we've been hearing about because it was really good, but been hearing about that was being worked on, and then nothing. But then I saw it was still listed under your projects in development. I was like, oh, maybe it's still on.
Yeah, no, I know it sort of got, I think like a year or two ago, it sort of got updated. I noticed that like on IMDb, and I thought, oh, maybe it's coming out. But yeah, I
Pretty
don't
good
know if
cast.
after all the, yeah, yeah, it was funny. And we got to improvise, and that was so much fun because the guy who was the lead, Sean Vance, was also, I think he was also the showrunner of the show as well. And he was a former uh sort of was Green Beret or Marine or something. So he like knew what he was talking about and knew what he was doing, but he was also an improviser. So
Oh,
it was really fun to have a chance to improvise and to do that. And that was, I think I had sort of 4 days of shooting, and we were shooting during a really bad forest fire smoke.
Oh
So
yeah.
it sort of helped with the like post-apocalyptic vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, you need a
Yeah.
little bit of smoke just kind of roaming around back in the back.
Yeah, and everything, the sky was kind of orange and the sun was like kind of peach colored, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was fun to work on for sure.
I'm gonna cross my fingers that one
Yeah.
gets out.
Yeah. Hey,
I hate it when things they get made, like they're filmed,
yeah,
but then it stalls, because that's when the hard stuff begins. Is everybody thinks the hard part's actually making the movie. It's actually
that's
after,
right.
with the post production and trying to market the movie. That's where it gets hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, call someone up and just be like, hey, I want it to happen.
Yeah, we're waiting on this. Come on. We enjoyed you in Sonic the Hedgehog. I think that was the second one. That's
Oh, okay.
I've had to watch those with I've got a grandson that's getting into Sonic and Mario, and,
Yeah.
which he's just getting ready to turn 5, so that they're appropriate for that age. But he's
Yeah.
into that, so we've watched the Sonic movies together. So yeah, we enjoyed you in that one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I apologize. There were a lot of Russian speakers on that set for that scene, especially.
Mhm.
And I, at one point, because there was 50 other people in that scene, and at
Big
one
scene.
point, I said to everyone, I fully realize I am mangling your language. Deepest apologies. And they all sort of laughed. And one of the guys actually helped me with some of the pronunciations. But yeah, that was the first time I'd ever had to speak in a language I obviously do not speak or do not speak well. So yeah.
Try doing it in a West Virginia accent. I get people from out of country a lot on the podcast, and pronouncing their names is a struggle for me. Yeah,
Oh,
because I say it like it looks, and that's never right.
you got a great, I mean, look, I have an accent to you. So I realize that, but like you got a great accent. It's so like friendly and welcoming sounding.
Oh, that's very nice. Isn't that funny when like I don't like the sound of my voice, and most of us are like that.
Yeah.
But other people listen, they're like, "No, I like your accent and stuff." I'm like, "Really?" Yeah. I listen to myself, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible."
Yeah, no, I know. It's always so weird, right? When you hear yourself, because we don't hear ourselves like we actually sound either in
Right.
terms of like the pitch of our voice. So yeah, that
That's it. Yeah, it doesn't sound right. And I make myself listen to every episode that we put out because I'm trying to improve, find things we can do better. But it's a little bit painful for me.
yeah. I know it's hard sometimes when I'm watching, I mean, anything, because I do watch what I do. I think there's only been a couple of things that I've never seen, um, but I do watch what I do because I want to learn.
Yeah.
Because I'll remember, like, I remember in that moment what I was thinking and feeling and trying to emote. Did that come across the same way I intended it or whatever? Because I think we always like need to learn for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. My son's the opposite. He just refuses. He's like, "Well, I was there. Why do I need to listen to it?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know Linda. I saw Linda Hamilton. I think she mentioned it in an interview too. But she doesn't. She doesn't watch. She doesn't watch what she does. Like she doesn't want to see it.
Yeah, that surprises me.
Yeah,
I mean, she's a very accomplished actress. You think she would
yeah,
watch her stuff.
yeah. No, and I respect that. I've definitely met other actors who are like, I can't,
Yeah,
I
oh
can't,
yeah,
I
a
can't, I
lot of
can't
them.
watch myself. And I get it. It's hard sometimes. You're watching, going like, oh, I could have done that in this moment, or I could have whatever. But I just suck it up and I do it. But I totally understand why some people don't want
Oh,
to.
I do too. I do too. Although when you listen to something or watch something you've done and it's good, that's kind of the best.
Right.
Yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
then I start stressing about, well, how do I top that?
Yeah. Exactly. How do I've set such a high bar. Whew, what's next?
Yeah, what's next? I guess I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Achieved it. Tick.
What anything that like, let me ask you this way, because we only got a couple episodes left in the season. So if the series continues, and I think it might, because it's so good, where do you think Deputy Liv's going to end up? You know, what's her future look like? Does she end up being sheriff at some point in the future, or does she move to another town? What do you think?
It's funny. I mean, never say never for anything. I definitely feel like with Liv, she's lived in that town her whole life.
Yeah.
You know, I think she went off to college, but she's lived there. You know, her husband is there. All of her friends are there. I don't think she would. I don't think she'd move towns. Maybe. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I have an idea, which of course I can't say. At least heading into the next season, based on what happens in the finale. Sort of where she's headed, but it's not saying it's an actual place, but it's like it's going to be a cool direction for sure.
Does she get vindication for the alien stuff? Because nobody's really believed her 100%. You know, other than know there's aliens, maybe, but
like if there's a season 4, do you think she'd get vindication?
Does she get vindication? Like, does it come out that, you know, maybe some of that stuff she's talking about actually happened?
Maybe that'll happen. Like, I mean, you know,
I think that'd be interesting to see how her character reacts if everybody's like, Liv's right.
I know. Wouldn't that be a great moment? Like, because she's like, at first she didn't share it with anyone, and then she slowly started sharing it like here or there, and then she did that documentary where she admitted it, and she wants to, like, you know, it was last week's episode, right, where she was having the discussion about it with Kate, the mayor's wife, played by Meredith Garrettson, and she's excited to be able to talk about it. She's excited about the idea that someone, you know, may have gone through some sort of experience, because she's always been so curious about it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the that storyline with the mayor and his wife, really good this year. It's a little bit upsetting.
It is. It's like I get anxious.
Me too.
Yeah. I get anxious, and I'm like, oh God, like just the idea of it all, would be so overwhelming.
Yeah. I have a tough time with Meredith and her character. You know, we got kind of friendly over the course of talking several times. She was so gracious helping set up the panel, but I have trouble watching her upset on TV.
Yeah.
Meredith's upset.
Yes. No, it's true. That couple, when was it? Episode 3. It was a very emotional episode for Meredith's character. A very emotional episode for Judy, for Jenna Lamia's character, and for my character.
That was a really good episode.
Oh yeah, wasn't it good? And I love, like, I get chills when I think of the title of it, 141 seconds. Like, it's just, you know, it's life is short and precious and fragile and all those things.
I know. Can't wait to see how it wraps up. And I know it's going to be one of those, you get some closure, but it's kind of a cliffhanger too, just in case. And that's always it makes you anxious as a fan. You never like it if something kind of ends with something open. You want everything closed, wrapped up in a nice bow. Right.
Do you mean like, so the end of this season, and if we'll, we feel the same way.
I know. That's part of the reason. Part of the reason the show works so well is the cast is so close, and you can tell it. The chemistry is really strong.
Yeah, we have been through it, and I think, was it Corey who was talking about it when we did the panel with you, about, you know, the fact that we went through a pandemic together. So when, you know, we had one episode left, we had the finale of season 1 left to shoot when everything shut down. What was it, March 13th? And oh my goodness, that was almost exactly 4 years ago. And so we had that. First of all, the whole world was terrified and no one knew what was going to happen and what was going on. And then when we all came back, I think we all came back like the end of September of 2020 to shoot the finale. And we've just been through it all together, because we all first met when we worked on the pilot, like September, October of 2018. So,
You've been
it's
at
like
this
five
a
and a
while.
half. Yeah, it's like 5.5 years or more. So
This show's kind of a survivor. It's been through a lot.
yeah, it has. It's been through the pandemic, and it's been through a strike,
Right?
and
Yeah. Or two
yeah,
strikes, I guess.
two strikes, and yeah, it's been a long time. There was another show I worked on called Upload,
Oh, yeah,
and
we love Upload.
oh good. And I remember Allegra Edwards, who plays Ingrid, was mentioning that they had done the pilot in 2017.
Oh, really?
So they'd been doing, they'd been at it like a year and a half longer than we had. So, and I don't know when their season 4 starts to shoot, but it's their final season. And that'll be how many years by the time like season 4 comes out? Like they will have been
Something like
together
that.
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you go through it.
yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much. I'm so happy you came back. I told my wife that you were the person that I most wanted to talk to out of the cast, just individually. We love Liv.
Aw. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you for taking a little bit of time. Before I let you go, couple
Yeah.
quick things.
Sure.
Anything else you're working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
I'm like, Pam, can I mention other shows I did on other networks?
Don't get
Sure.
yourself in
Okay.
trouble.
Okay. Well, I have a little I have a guest star actually coming up tonight on a show called Family Law.
Love Family Law. They bring it to the States.
It is. It's on the CW.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yes, I'll catch up. I knew that.
Sorry.
I had heard it was coming, but I hadn't never went back to check, see if it was actually, oh yeah, I got to catch up on
I'm such a dum-dum. I just mentioned another network on a show that's airing the same night as our show. Pam, please tell everyone I'm so sorry. But anyway, so
we'll fix that in post.
Yeah, fix that in post. Just blur out my mouth and mute me. But and I'm also next month you can see me in guest starring in an episode of Animal Control.
Love that show too. Oh, I can't wait for that. Yeah. That's really good. So last thing, Elizabeth, before you go, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, I'm on Instagram with the longest handle. I don't know what I was thinking. Elizabeth Bowen sometimes. And
I love it.
Yeah, same name on Threads. I have a Twitter account, but I'm not really there. So yeah, I would say Instagram and Threads are probably the main ones.
I love it. Well, Elizabeth, you have to come back. I talked to Meredith. I was like, whenever this show wraps up, we need to do another big panel interview so we can kind of, close it up for us.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. You're so much fun to talk to, Michael, and it's really it's a genuine pleasure.
Thank you so much. This has been terrific.
Yeah, it's been fun.
We have to do it again.
We do have to do it again. I shared so much, too much.
Okay, Elizabeth, hold on one second. I love my resident alien cast. Elizabeth is one of our favorites on the show. I think she does such a terrific job. It's not always easy playing a character that is kind of an introvert to start, but is slowly coming out of her shell. And I think Elizabeth does such a terrific job with that. I absolutely love her on the show. If you haven't watched Resident Alien, it's exactly like I said. You're going to go into it and you're going to be like, this is going to be ridiculous. And then it's not. It's just really well done. It's well written. The dialogue is terrific. It's really well cast. The cast is excellent. Take my word for it, you're going to have a good time. Check it out. And now it's on Peacock and Netflix. It's a lot easier to find. And the seasons are doable if you want to binge it. You know, I think total you're going to have 34 episodes to binge, and then hopefully we'll get a fourth season. Do yourself a favor, check that one out. Elizabeth mentioned Upload right there at the end. I should have brought that one up because that's a really good show that she is also on. And then Family Law, you know, we've had a lot of people on that have guest starred on Family Law. We haven't had a main cast member yet, but we've had a ton of people. Like, Family Law is similar to NCIS, Law and Order, CSI here, in that if you're a actor in that area, chances are you're going to be on that show at some point with that. So we've had a bunch of that cast, and that's a show that I've wanted to check out for a while, and I had forgotten that it was coming out here in the States. So I'll definitely check that one out as well. You know, a few things that we didn't get to. She was in the movie Overboard. She was in the movie Benchwarmers 2. We mentioned Sonic. She was on a show called Woke. The actor's name is escaping me, but he was played the police officer roommate on New Girl. And was hilarious in it. So Woke is one that I think it came out a year or two ago, and definitely one that I want to check out. She played Nancy on there. She was on a couple of episodes of Loudermilk, which is an excellent show. She played the deal salesperson on a series of unfortunate events, and I think that may have been the last one. We talked about Fargo. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. I had a blast. If you're a Resident Alien fan, make sure you check out our panel interview. We had 9 of the main cast all together at one time. It was amazing. We've also done individual interviews with Meredith twice, Sarah Tomko, and Alice Wetterlund Alice was actually our first guest. She started it all. So definitely check those out as well. If you're finding us for the first time, thank you for being here. We're so grateful. Today we put out episode 749, if you can believe it. Excited to put 750 out tomorrow. That's kind of a milestone episode. You can find all of those, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. So definitely make sure you check us out there. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. Pretty proud of that. There's 15 million or so podcasts out there. To make a top 100 list is just amazing. So if you want to help us there, you can go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast. That's all you have to do. It's free, but just the traffic on the page helps us. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe if you go there. It would really help us out. It's also free. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the Two Opinionated podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel, and we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. You know, not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. You know, those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube. It's under MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, if you could go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, you know, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.